And we're hiding all kinds of insecurities and worries and feelings of inadequacy and, hundreds of things. After decades of silence at the age of 79, Hayley Mills, once Disney's golden girl, has finally spoken out about what Hollywood tried to bury for nearly half a century. Maureen O'Hara was not the woman the public thought she was. In a private interview with BBC Radio 4, Mills revealed that behind that proud demeanor and radiant smile was a web of deceit and betrayal. O'Hara was falsely accused of having an affair with a stranger in a Los Angeles movie theater, retaliated against by a powerful director after rejecting his advances, and even came under the watch of the CIA following her husband's mysterious death. What secret drove Maureen O'Hara into 2 decades of seclusion in the Caribbean, and what made Hayley Mills, after all these years of silence, finally speak out? In her recent interview with BBC Radio 4, Hayley Mills mentioned the event she called the wound that never healed in Maureen O'Hara's life, the 1957 lawsuit against Confidential magazine. When speaking about it, Mills paused for a long time and sighed softly. "I don't think anyone can ever understand how much Maureen suffered. She once told me those people can write whatever they want, as long as it sells. And I'm the one who loses everything, even my honor." In October 1957, Confidential, then America's most popular tabloid, with over 800,000 copies per issue, published a shocking story titled "Red-Headed Star Caught in the Dark." The article claimed that Maureen O'Hara was caught in an intimate position with a man at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, famous for its celebrity handprints in cement. The report gave such vivid details that it almost seemed real. Row D, seat 12, a light blue dress, and a Mexican businessman whose name remains unknown. What stunned the public was Confidential's claim of having an eyewitness and photographic proof. Hollywood erupted. NBC Radio repeated the story, and the Los Angeles Examiner ran a bold headline: "O'Hara's secret date exposed within 24 hours." But the truth was entirely different. O'Hara was actually in Madrid, Spain, filming Fire Over Africa, directed by John Farrow. At a press conference on November 4, 1957, held at the Beverly Hills Hotel, she presented her passport stamped with Spanish immigration records, a letter from Columbia Pictures confirming her presence on set, and behind-the-scenes photos taken by Life magazine photographer David McLean on September 27th, the very date the tabloid claimed she was in the theater. O'Hara announced she would sue Confidential for defamation and deliberate fabrication. Her attorney, Jerry Giesler, was one of Hollywood's most prominent defense lawyers. The lawsuit filed in the Los Angeles County Court demanded $1 million in damages, a massive amount at the time. However, this was more than just a personal lawsuit. According to Hayley Mills, there were hands behind the curtain trying to bring O'Hara down. Rumors circulated that Robert Harrison, Confidential's editor, had been encouraged to release the story as a distraction from the highly publicized divorce between Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra, which was causing a media storm in Hollywood. The O'Hara article came out the exact week Gardner filed for divorce, a coincidence too striking for many reporters to ignore. Some also believed a former publicity agent at 20th Century Fox, the studio, where O'Hara had once been underwater at Iraq, leaked her name to Confidential in exchange for suppressing another studio scandal. In court documents, O'Hara mentioned a man who was once a colleague but became a traitor without naming him. The trial lasted from November 1957 until mid-1958, becoming front-page news across the country. Associated Press reporter James Bacon wrote that O'Hara appeared calm every day, though clearly exhausted. Photos from the courtroom showed her clutching thick files, walking beside her lawyer, as reporters crowded around. Meanwhile, Confidential's defense insisted they were merely reporting based on credible sources. But under questioning, their main witness, a supposed theater employee, admitted he had only heard it from someone else. The courtroom burst into laughter, and the judge halted proceedings due to conflicting testimony. In the end, the court did not grant O'Hara a full victory, citing the lack of provable financial damage, yet public opinion overwhelmingly sided with her. The New York Times wrote Maureen O'Hara proved that truth still has value, even in Hollywood. The consequences for Confidential were severe. Circulation dropped nearly 60% within a year. Robert Harrison was forced to sell the publication, and its California office was investigated for journalistic misconduct. The case became known as the lawsuit that shook America's most powerful tabloid empire. Still, the wounds O'Hara carried did not fade easily. After that, she almost completely withdrew from public life, refused interviews, and once told the Irish Times, "I learned that sometimes your enemies aren't those who hate you, they're the ones who write about you." Hayley Mills recalled seeing Maureen tear up stacks of magazines and say, "I won't let them rewrite my life." Mills believed that this trauma completely changed O'Hara's view of Hollywood, from a dreamland into a ruthless battlefield where strong women paid the price simply for refusing to bow. From that moment, the relationship between O'Hara and director John Ford, who once considered her his muse, began to fracture. After the lawsuit, Hollywood was no longer a place of trust, but one of suspicion, ambition, and fragile relationships that could shatter with a single headline. He was a genius, no one denies that. But for Maureen, that genius was also a storm. According to Mills, the relationship between Maureen O'Hara and John Ford began in 1940 when they first met on the set of How Green Was My Valley in California. O'Hara was just 20, while Ford was already an acclaimed director at 20th Century Fox. People in the industry said Ford rarely took interest in actresses, but O'Hara was different. He was captivated by her strength, the fiery Irish hair, the cool voice, and the unwavering confidence. Mills said Ford practically treated Maureen as his own within the film world. He wanted her to act only in his films, to follow only his direction. She explained, "Maureen once told me, at first I thought it was respect. Later, I realized it was control." Between 1941 and 1957, Ford and O'Hara collaborated on 6 films, most famously Rio Grande 1950 and The Quiet Man 1952. During the filming of The Quiet Man in Kong, Ireland, their relationship began to strain. Crew members recalled Ford's frequent outbursts toward O'Hara for not delivering the look he imagined in his head. In one scene,